Right now at 5, San Jose police using AI to get out the message.
Hola, mi nombre es Paul Joseph.
How they're hoping to reach everyone in the community when every second counts. A shocking scene as a California man slams the door on federal immigration agents in hot pursuit. Why advocates say his nightmare was just the beginning.
And in one video, ICE is basically taunting him, saying, we have your house key.
Rent prices in San Francisco soaring once again.
That's when we started to realize it was a lot more difficult.
Meet the apartment hunters finding themselves crowded out of the red-hot market. Plus, we'll take you to Levi's Stadium where fans are fired up with just days until the preseason kicks off.
It felt kind of unreal. I've never been that close to players before.
CBS News Bay Area Evening Edition with Ryan Yamamoto.
Well, we begin with a brush fire causing some big problems for commuters in Solano County this evening. This fire breaking out right next to the Benicia-Martinez Bridge. This happening around 3 o'clock this afternoon. At one point, the flames forced the closure of I-680 in both directions. You can see the fire actually jumped into the median and the split between 680 and 780. The biggest concern, all those refinery facilities in the area, but crews have managed to stop the spread of the flames. The evening commute in that area can be a headache under the best of circumstances, and tonight, well, it's even worse. At one point, we're told that traffic was backed up 2 miles in each direction. Here's a look at the traffic conditions right now on our traffic map. You can see a lot of red going over the Benicia Bridge, also across the Carquinez Bridge. Our chopper over the scene of another brush fire, too, that broke out in Alameda County about an hour ago. This one burning right next to Calaveras Road and Sunol, just south of I-680 and Highway 84, that interchange. The fire also burning dangerously close to some power lines.
I'm Ann Makovic with a look at National Night Out events happening right now in the Bay Area. There is probably a party going on near your neighborhood. It is an annual community building campaign taking place in neighborhoods around the country. Taking a live look at an event happening right now in Concord. They've got the music and the barbecue going. Cities encouraging people to come out, meet their neighbors, and form relationships with some of the police officers who patrol their streets. National Night Out happens on the first Tuesday of every August. The theory is that bringing people together in a fun environment, those connections will pay off in the long run, building trust, communication, and creating safer communities.
I think any exposure they have to the general public is always helpful.
Why do you think that?
Just because, like, most people probably don't encounter police unless it's a bad situation, so that's the only thing they kind of have in their mind whenever that correlates whenever they see someone. So it's nice to see them out, and you kind of see them as just, people walking around that are, you can talk to them and get to know them.
And this National Night Out comes on the heels of some encouraging news on crime. Nationwide, crime decreased in every category in 2024. That is according to data released by the FBI. Violent crime fell 4.5%, marking the second consecutive annual decline. There was an almost 15% drop in murder, the lowest rate in 9 years, and a 5.2% decline in rape. Ryan.
All right, thanks, Ann. In San Jose, there's a major push to integrate artificial intelligence into the operations of the city government. Today, the police department announcing it will use AI translation services to reach the community. Lauren Tom's on the plan that has some wondering if the city is just moving a little too fast with AI technology.
I want to make it clear that the San Jose Police Department does not participate in immigration enforcement.
A new message from San Jose Police Chief Paul Joseph is making waves, not just for what he said, but how he said it.
Quiero dejar claro que el Departamento de Policía de San José no participa en la aplicación de leyes de inmigración.
That was the same video, but with an AI-generated Spanish translation using hours of Chief Joseph's voice. It's the first time the San Jose Police Department has used artificial intelligence to send a message to the community in Spanish.
It's just another way, another attempt to try to reach the community and have them really hear what it is we're saying and build that trust. And if hearing me speak it in AI-generated Spanish helps build that trust, then I think it's absolutely the way to go.
With 24% of San Jose households speaking Spanish, the department says the video was about building trust as federal immigration arrests rise across the region. But some members of the community, like immigration organizer Lori Valdez, question why a native Spanish-speaking human within the department couldn't have delivered the same message.
If he couldn't speak it, he should have got one of his officers who can speak it, not use AI. That's like a joke to me. That's just like a slap in the face for the Latino community.
She says while the message matters more than ever, how it's delivered carries more weight.
You can't police a community you can't even communicate with. And you can't say you care about them if you're using AI, and other things could come from that.
Chief Joseph knows trust is fragile. He says the department has seen a drop in domestic disturbance reports in recent months, something he worries may be driven by fear of deportation.
If people are afraid that contacting the police when they are the victims of a crime could lead to them being deported, perhaps they would not. So if this helps people to feel that when they need our help, they can call us, it's all worth it.
San Jose is a sanctuary city where local authorities have vowed to not aid in federal immigration enforcement within the city. Even so, Lori says police resources should be used by humans, not AI.
We want real people in our streets who care about our community, that are going to keep them safe, not just the properties, but the people who live in the community.
Chief Joseph says if the AI message is well received, the department could expand its use to translate messages into Vietnamese, Mandarin, or Cantonese, coming straight from the chief.
With this rich, diverse community, all the different languages that are spoken in San Jose, I think this is an opportunity for us to more closely reach the community. So yes, I do see additional future possibilities for this.
And in a city where more than half of households speak a language other than English, the question may not be if police use AI, but how they use it and whether the community truly feels heard.
And San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan has been a huge promoter of AI technology. The city has now launched courses to train staff to use artificial intelligence in their jobs. Well, getting things done in Novato may take a little bit longer after city workers just went on strike. Employees from the Maintenance, Parks, and Recreation, City Planning, and more rallied this morning in front of City Hall. They accuse the city of withholding Measure N funds, which voters approved this past November. That money was supposed to be used to support public safety, road repairs, and facilities maintenance. They say staffing is now a major issue.
Retention's been a problem for a long time here in Novato. We're losing people right now. The streets crew that I'm part of right now used to be 14 back in 2006, and it's down to 7 right now. So a lot of us are doing the work that many did. We're getting burnt out.
Well, negotiations have stalled between the city and the union. There's no end date for that strike. Hundreds of workers at Stanford University are about to lose their jobs. The administration cites the shifting realities as the Trump administration pulls federal funding from colleges and universities. 363 positions will be impacted. The layoffs are scheduled to take effect between September 30th and November 1st. Hey, let's give you a live look at Levi's Stadium, where fired up Niner fans came out in full force for practice today. We're just 4 days away from the first preseason game right here on KPIX. Our Kevin Coe spoke to die-hard fans, including some who are thinking outside the box.
What's in the box at 49ers training camp? Well, one of the most faithful fans in the Bay.
I came up with this, and it's awesome. Yeah.
George Kittle's coming right
Kittle?
behind you.
Okay.
Kittle's coming right behind you.
Hey, Danny, give me my stuff. Give me my stuff.
We will check back in with Cassidy as he and more than 100 other fans hope to secure a signature. Cassidy and his family are one of many households lucky enough to get a sold-out seat to watch their favorite team.
I'm a Browns fan.
Okay, well, maybe not everyone. Sorry, Sourdough Sam. But Devin's son, Oliver, is part of the Niner faithful.
What would you say if Sourdough Sam was right behind you right now?
He's great.
Look behind you.
This is what training camp is all about, providing fans and families an up-close experience unlike any game. There's a reason families keep coming back.
Took these kids with me to training camp when had him in Baby Bjorn and all that.
It feels like it was just yesterday I was here. I want him, to definitely be a Niner fan, diehard Niner fan. Bang, bang, Niner gang, right?
This is Noah. He's the third of the generation right here. He's my little son. He's 7 months old.
This is his first outing, so it's exciting for us to have him at the Niners training camp.
Speaking of exciting, let's check back in with George Kittle.
When I saw him right, I was like, Kittle! The people's tight end in the house!
The president of National Tight Ends Day wasn't able to make it to Cassidy, but he's still grateful for the moment and for others.
Obviously, he's a person too, but it felt kind of unreal. I've never been that close to players before. And it's awesome that they let us go on the field this year. Getting to talk to Upton Stout, like just kind of about like his come up and just like how much of an inspiration he is. That was awesome. He's a great guy.
Cassidy is walking away in his Nick Bosa trading card costume with less autographs than he'd like. But if there's anything to learn at training camp, the true faithful will have another chance.
Oh my goodness, I have hundreds. I've been coming here 40 years.
Someone needs to get that kid a graph there. Okay, so let's count it down. 4 days until the Niners face the Broncos in their preseason debut at Levi's Stadium. You can watch it right here on KPIX Saturday at 5:30. It's also back to school time at the Mount Diablo School District, and they're showing off some big changes to 3 elementary schools ahead of the opening bell. There was a ribbon-cutting ceremony at Mount Diablo Elementary. This is in Clayton. The campus is back open after a year and a half of renovations, and we're talking new floors and ceilings as well as new technology.
This just shows like we put our students and our communities at our center, and this is just a small give back that we can give to our students to say, hey, we care about you and we want to create the most up-to-date, practical learning environment possible for you to be able to get educated at our schools.
Rio Vista and Meadow Homes Elementary Schools also got the makeovers. The renovations were funded by the Measure J bond, which provided $150 million for the upgrades and modernizations. Well, crews are struggling to get a handle on California's largest wildfire of the year. Up next, we're going to show you what they are facing.
Just to get out there to that fire edge, it takes an extreme amount of work.
Plus, it's been a North Bay landmark for 9 decades.
I think it brings people a lot of joy, just driving by and seeing that little chick there.
We're going to meet the people trying to restore the baby chick sign to its former glory.
And if you thought today was warm with plenty of sunshine and lovely conditions across the Bay Area, get ready for tomorrow. Those temperatures getting to be 5 to 10 degrees above normal. I'll let you know how long those above average temperatures will stick around for coming up in just a bit.
Well, dogs have been getting sick after visiting a South Bay dog park, now getting word that one pet has even died. It's happening at Nuevo Dog Park in Santa Clara. The area is now closed as authorities investigate what's making animals sick. The city says they do not use pesticides and they regularly clean up the park with pet and eco-friendly products. Santa Clara released a statement saying in part that health and safety of Santa Clara residents, including their 4-legged companions, is a top priority. In response to these reports, the city is launching a thorough environmental assessment at Nuevo Dog Park. Well, California's largest fire continues to burn out of control. The Gifford Fire has now burned 129 square miles. That's slightly smaller than the city of Portland, Oregon. It's burning in the Los Padres National Forest just east of San Luis Obispo. That fire only 7% contained. And from high above, you can actually see the fire lines growing. NOAA satellites giving us this view from space. The Forest Service says in the past 24 hours, the fire grew to the north. Currently, more than 800 buildings are being threatened. National Forest officials say the fire is being fueled by winds and hot, dry weather. Firefighters say the terrain and location is making it harder to get it under control.
Just to get out there to that fire edge, it takes an extreme amount of work, and you can't just always take vehicles out there.
Currently, a base camp is being built near the Santa Margarita to allow firefighters to stay near the fire lines. It is supposed to be ready by tomorrow. And the fire is sending lots of smoke into the air. There's an air quality alert for some parts of Santa Barbara County. You can see that thick layer of smoke just hanging over the valley.
Air quality, even miles away from the fire, can really affect community members, particularly elderly, children, people with respiratory issues like asthma, and as well as workers who are outside.
As we check in with Zoe Mintz right now, anytime we get into this part of the summer season, especially in August when we see those big fires, especially something that big, We start getting a little bit concerned, even though we're only getting some small spot fires up here.
Yes, well, the good news for us is the fact that it's been so cold and there was so much moisture for the first 2 months of summer. Our fuel moisture is higher than normal, which means if a fire does spark, it's actually going to be harder for it to spread when there's higher moisture content. But Southern California has not been so lucky when it comes to their moisture content. That's the reason that their wildfire, the Gifford fire, is able to be so strong, so intense, and only 7% contained. But there is good news for us in the Bay Area when it comes to the wind direction. None of this smoke is going to be heading towards us. So our air quality in the Bay Area not going to be impacted by Southern California's wildfires. What we are going to be impacted with is sunshine. That's really going to be the name of the game over the next several days, especially compared to all of the cloud coverage and all of the fog that we've been seeing for the past several months. Look at the entire state of California. Just a little finger of that fog directly over the Golden Gate and parts of our South Bay communities. But either way, it is significantly sunnier than what we have been feeling for the past several months, and these sunny skies and relatively comfortable temperatures are going to stick around before big heat up heads our way. Right now, we're looking at those temperatures sitting in the 80s across our inland East Bay communities. There are a couple of low 90s sprinkled in there early this afternoon, upper 70s to low 80s down into the Santa Clara Valley, mid to upper 70s for areas by the Bay, a few 80s up across Santa Rosa, and then low 60s directly along our coastal communities. But look at tomorrow, and I just want to show you how much we are going to be warming up across the Bay Area. Those colors, those deeper and darker purples inland, those signify the triple digits that are going to be returning to the Central Valley of California, and upper 90s across our inland East Bay communities, mid to upper 80s to low 90s down into the Santa Clara Valley, and even a couple of low 90s sprinkled in there across our North Bay like Santa Rosa. So 90s are going to be a lot more widespread starting tomorrow. Even areas by the Bay, upper 70s to low 80s, those of us without air conditioning, this is warm out there. San Francisco, it likely is going to be our third 70-degree day of the summer, and we're likely going to be seeing more 70-degree days in our future as a pattern change has arrived. We're looking at our areas of high pressure that we normally see this time of year. The Four Corners high and the Pacific high finally returning later this week and into this weekend. It's the reason that we are seeing so much more sunshine out there this afternoon. A little bit of cloud coverage to start off our day. That's what we're used to. Cloud coverage quickly lifted, and the blue skies and sunshine have been the name of the game all afternoon long, keeping those temperatures very seasonable. But in fact, you might be actually a degree or two below average across our more inland communities today. It's not until tomorrow that the heat is really going to be building. Like I said, with those temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees above average returning tomorrow afternoon. 70s in San Francisco, upper 70s in Oakland, mid 80s in San Jose, mid 90s over in Concord, as that area of high pressure that's been building over the Four Corners is going to be heating us up tomorrow. It might be a little bit cooler on Thursday as the storm system scrapes off to our north, but by Friday, we are expecting both of those areas of high pressure to re-emerge, and both of them in combination Friday afternoon. That's going to be the warmest day of the next 7. Keep that in mind. Friday is going to be the peak of the heat as those winds continue to quiet down, staying below 25 miles an hour all day tomorrow. Again, it's going to be warm out there through the later parts of the weekend. Next week, though, you will be noticing a gradual cool down heading your way, so the heat is not going to be lasting for long. And it's not extreme heat. It is not record-breaking heat. It is just back to above average, back to more summer-like for this time of year. Again, sticking around through the weekend and into early next week before finally quieting down back to below average. A little bit of a roller coaster is on the way. We're going to continue heat up and up and up. Like I said, Friday is likely going to be the peak of the heat inland. Areas by the Bay also going to be seeing those upper 70s to low 80s, and directly along the coast, you'll also be seeing a lot more sunshine. And might I say, some beautiful beach weather is just around the corner with upper 60s, a lot more sunshine reemerging starting Friday, continuing into this upcoming weekend. So if it's a little bit too hot for you inland, head on over to the coast to beat the heat. Back to you, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Zoe. Up next at 5, a California man racing into his home with immigration agents in hot pursuit.
Were they actually there looking for him, or was this another case of racial profiling?
Why advocates say the feds have launched a campaign of harassment since the failed arrest. Plus, the Grateful Dead tributes are now in the books, but a summer of concerts at Golden Gate Park is just beginning. We're going to talk to neighbors who are feeling the impact.
It's hard. My daughter takes a bus to school, and it's just not functioning.
Well, a narrow escape. A man in San Bernardino County barely got away from federal immigration agents. This happened last week. He says he was leaving for work when 4 vans approached. He ran inside and shut his door moments before an agent tried to kick it in. Advocates now say this attempted arrest has turned into harassment. CBS's Lori Perez with the story.
This is video from July 30th, as we're told a man named Jose, who is undocumented, runs inside his apartment, slamming the door, narrowly escaping ICE agents who try to kick it down. But in the heat of the moment, immigration advocates say Jose left behind some crucial belongings.
He left his wallet, he left his car running at the same time as well. And so ICE was able to get his wallet, they have his keys. And in one video, ICE is basically taunting him, saying, we have your house key, which for us, it's number one, if ICE had a warrant for this arrest, they would have already gone into this home.
Javier Hernandez from the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice says they don't believe agents had a warrant when they spotted Jose driving to work and chased him home.
At this time, they did not call him by name. They did not go into his apartment. As you can see in the video, right? They did hit the door. If they had a warrant for him, we know that they could have gone into that apartment. They could have broken that door down. So what we are concerned about again is, were they actually there looking for him, or was this another case of racial profiling?
They say it is now a case of harassment. Advocates say ICE agents have returned to the Fontana residence every day since July 30th. Repeating this kind of aggression and keeping Jose, his wife, mother-in-law, and 3 young children prisoners in their own home. Hernandez says Jose maintains he's a political refugee who fled Nicaragua 3 years ago after being outspoken about government corruption.
His concern is that if he is deported, he would end up in a prison. His wife might end up in a prison as well, and that their children would just be separated from them for the rest of their lives.
They're running out of food and supplies, so volunteers are dropping off donations at their Fontana complex. He says the family tried to apply for political asylum, but were told they need at least $25,000, which they do not have.
And so because of that concern, and after the election of the president, they decided that they were not going to go back to court right now. And so they do have deportation orders. But again, this family, they're willing to fight back. They're willing to do asylum if only it was affordable, right?
And ICE arrests may look different depending on where they are happening. CNN analyzed data from the agency, and it shows that agents are using different tactics in red and blue states. Let's look at the numbers right here. In liberal-leaning states, ICE is more likely to arrest immigrants from the community. 70% of those arrests happening at worksite streets and in mass roundups. Most of these immigrants have no criminal record. On the flip side, most ICE arrests in Republican-controlled states are happening at prisons and jails. And data shows that the red states have more ICE arrests overall. This partisan gap has existed for years, but has increased since last year. Administration officials say these differences are due to sanctuary policies in blue cities and states. Well, a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from relocating FEMA disaster prevention money. At stake is $4 billion. 20 states, including California, sued FEMA. This after the agency announced it would not spend the approved money on projects to protect against future storm damage. And still ahead at 5, it's been nearly 2 years since the implosion of the Titan submersible shocked the world. We're going to hear from an investigator behind the new report that found this tragedy was preventable. Plus, we're going to meet a San Francisco apartment hunter facing brutal competition.
Someone said, there's a bid on this apartment already. If you want it, you're going to have to bid as well.
Why the market is surging once again. Plus, a new effort to restore a landmark that's been a distinct part of the North Bay community for 9 decades. Right now at 5:30, San Francisco is seeing a dramatic rebound in its rental housing market. It is driven in part by AI startups and demand. Kenny Choi takes a closer look at where those spikes are happening in the city and what this means for anyone looking for a place to call home.
San Francisco's stunning skylines have always been a draw for apartment seekers wanting a view. Bella Otterson, who's been working in tech, found herself in a bidding war for a new place.
At some point, someone said, there's a bid on this apartment already. If you want it, you're going to have to bid as well.
She started noticing large groups of apartment hunters at some showings around June.
That's when we started to realize it was a lot more difficult.
Analysts say that's typical as the summer search for places picks up. But Otterson says looking for a place last year at the same time was vastly different.
We toured 2 apartments, both of which we could have easily gotten the lease for, and had no problems. Like nothing like the things we're experiencing now.
She posted on TikTok as her months-long search continued.
If you're thinking about apartment searching right now in San Francisco, don't. We've gone to over 10 apartment tours so far. By the time we walk out of these apartment tours, the apartment's basically already spoken for.
1-bedrooms in San Francisco are up 13.3% to $3,400, the highest price since April 2020 and just shy of the pre-pandemic high of $3,500, according to Crystal Chen of Zumper, a digital marketplace for renters and property managers.
San Francisco is having a rental resurgence right now, and that's likely driven by a surge in AI-related hiring, stricter return to office policies, and just, I think, a general revived appetite for urban living.
Zumper's latest national rent index shows either flat or declining rates across the board, but San Francisco led the nation in annual rent growth. 2-bedrooms are up 16.3% to nearly $4,800. Not seen since August 2019.
Areas close to the city's downtown area, which is where many offices are typically located, like Mission Bay, Soma, Hayes Valley, Civic Center. All of those neighborhoods saw rents grow in the double digits annually.
For Otterson, her 4-month-long search recently came to an end.
I treat it the same you would as a job search. Be on time, write a cover letter, show them that you're going to be a great resident, and be looking all the time, like every day.
She and 2 roommates have found a 3-bedroom apartment they love, but the search wasn't an easy one.
And Zumper says rents on homes with 3 bedrooms in San Francisco, well, they are up also 15%, and rents on homes with 4 bedrooms, well, those are up 17%. Well, the city of San Francisco raising a flag to commemorate the start of Transgender History Month. It comes as the federal government continues its rollback of protections for the trans community. Today, city officials and trans advocates spoke about what it means to have the city stand with their trans neighbors.
Above all, I am proud to be a San Franciscan, knowing that this city is a sanctuary for transgender people.
The truth, which Trans History Month so beautifully illustrates for us, is that we are here, we have always been here, and we will always be here.
Mayor Daniel Lurie says so far this year, nearly 1,000 anti-trans bills have been introduced into federal and state legislatures all across the country, and 120 so far have become law. In the North Bay, early morning SMART train service has resumed, but it's not quite so noisy. Service in Windsor started in June, and quickly the agency started getting complaints from neighbors about loud horns early in the morning. So the 3 trips before 6 a.m. were put on hold until now. Starting today, train engineers will use the horn when someone is on or near the tracks, but not at every crossing. A local fundraising effort to save one of the most recognizable signs in Petaluma. Organizers say this hatchery neon sign on Petaluma Boulevard North is long overdue for restorations. It was first installed in 1935. The hatchery sign is the oldest neon sign in Petaluma. Catherine, who put the fundraiser together, says the sign is an unofficial landmark of the city, but now, after all these years, it needs electrical repairs and, well, a new coat of paint. The plan also includes new lettering that would bring back the original Baby Chicks print.
I think it brings people a lot of joy, just driving by and seeing that little chick there. It's a reminder of our roots as a poultry capital of the egg basket of the world.
The sign's owner, Mamie Strong, says she has wanted to fix up the sign for years, and this fundraiser will finally allow her to do it.
I actually have a couple of tenants here that actually only came to this building because they're Petalumans, and that sign they remember as a child.
Reinhardt says they are looking to raise about $22,000 once they hit that target. Restoring the sign should only take about 6 weeks. Up next, new insight into the doomed submersible voyage to the wreckage of the Titanic.
It really is a wake-up call.
Why investigators say this disaster could have been avoided. And San Francisco's summer concert series is just beginning. We're going to talk to the people near Golden Gate Park about how they're coping with weeks of disruptions. The U.S. Coast Guard released a report today about the Titan submersible disaster. Investigators now say this tragedy could have been prevented. The Coast Guard found Ocean Gate CEO Stockton Rush ignored safety warnings, design flaws, and crucial oversight. It was one of the 5 people killed during the implosion in June of 2023. He and his tour group were on their way to visit the Titanic wreckage. The report also faulted Ocean Gate for continuously using the vessel, even though it had been previously damaged.
It really is a wake-up call, to make sure you examine the certifications, go deeper into who's operating, ask some questions.
The company stopped operations a month after the disaster. That prompted calls for stricter regulations for private deep-sea tourism. A company spokesperson says it was fully cooperating with that investigation. Golden mussels have been wreaking havoc all across the state, with them being found as far south as Los Angeles County. But a new treatment may be the key to eradicating this invasive species. The fear is that the golden mussel infestation could clog waterways and impact California's access to drinking water. Lawmakers are proposing a $15 million bill to Congress that would support research and prevention efforts. Meanwhile, a group in Davis has been working on a treatment that works on other types of mussels.
We're adapting that to control the golden mussels. And we have tested it here in our lab, and we're getting very high kill of the mussels, golden mussels, but at a higher dosage than the zebra and quagga mussels. These are really hardy, which makes me worry. It's really important to prevent it from spreading further because of the destruction that it does cause.
The version of the treatment only works on pipes and small confined areas, and they're hoping that by next year, they will have a product that works on larger bodies of water. Well, students at Panera High School in Stockton, look at this. They were sent home on the first day of the school after a main water line broke, sending gallons of water, look at that, pouring into campus. The water flooded the first floor of the main building. It came out of a utility closet, gushed down the hallways and into classrooms. Students will start the school year with remote learning until the campus is dried out.
First step is to get the water out of the building, get everything dried out, and then assess to see what needs to be done going forward.
This isn't the first time a utility issue has shut down the campus. In January 2024, a transformer failed, causing more than half the campus to be without power.
Straight ahead in sports, the 49ers front and center. The latest as training camp enters the long dog days of August. And they are just a couple of days till they get to practice with and against another team.
It was a disaster more than 2 miles below the surface of the Atlantic. We'll have details from a new report by the Coast Guard on what led to the loss of a mini-sub on that expedition to the Titanic. And can artificial intelligence provide companionship for the lonely? How AI is being used to keep company with older Americans. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, definitely a beautiful day on tap, at least today. But I saw in your 7-day forecast, I see a 95 and a 97.
Yeah, and we might even see a few 99s sprinkled in there.
Triple digits?
I mean, it will be right on the edge. I'd say Fairfield, Antioch, you have the best potential on Friday to reach that triple digit mark, as the heat is going to be on. Those areas of high pressure that we haven't seen for the past 2 months finally returning and bringing us more summer-like heat. So if you enjoyed the cooler weather, I hope you enjoyed today, because temperatures are very seasonable this afternoon, and they'll stay that way into this evening. With those clearing skies from this morning, it was beautiful out there this afternoon, and we are going to stay nice and sunny throughout the next several days. Today, the high temperatures were, like I said, very, very normal for this time of year. The onshore wind kept us seasonable, and it also kept most of the cloud coverage out of our hair. There's a little finger of fog that's sitting over places like Pacifica, Half Moon Bay, down along the South Bay communities along the coast. But other than that, it is sunny, it is clear, it is really gorgeous out there. Our temperatures are comfortable, especially across our inland East Bay communities. They were in the low 90s earlier today. Now they're back into the mid to lower 80s, and areas down into the Santa Clara Valley, upper 70s to low 80s, 70s for areas by the bay, and then closer to our coastal communities, still sitting in the low 60s. North Bay, though, you've been heating up. Santa Rosa, you saw a 90-degree high temperature today, and now you're dipping back into the low 80s to upper 70s. Tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be warming up even more, though. Look at those colors that got deeper and darker in purple and pink. These signify the triple digits that are going to be widespread across our inland East Bay communities. And we're going to be across the Central Valley, and our inland East Bay are going to be right on the edge of that triple digit mark. Upper 90s, like I said, places like Fairfield and Antioch, but I would say by Friday, that will be your best day to potentially reach that triple digit mark. Even across our North Bay, upper 80s to low 90s, that's going to be hot out there. Areas by the bay in the upper 70s to mid 80s. Those of us without air conditioning, yeah, it's definitely getting hot. Down into the Santa Clara Valley, upper 80s to low 90s. If you want to escape the heat, as usual, just head on over to the coast where that onshore flow is going to keep things more comfortable. But still mid 60s from Half Moon Bay all the way up to Point Reyes. It is going to be a lot more comfortable compared to what we've been feeling for the past several months. Like there might be a little bit more cloud coverage waking up early tomorrow morning, but the cloud coverage, like I said, is not going to be sticking around for long. There's going to be sunny skies all across the bay, maybe some upper level clouds moving across the North Bay communities, but really not very impactful. It is going to be a very dry and a very warm weather pattern that is going to stick around through the later parts of this upcoming week. Today, like I said, a degree or two below average. Tomorrow, about 5 to 10 degrees above average. That big jump will arrive Wednesday and then stay above average through the rest of the week ahead of us, although there might be a little bit of an up and down, as tomorrow that area of high pressure over the Four Corners will be dominating. Thursday, there's a storm system that's going to scrape off to our north that might cool down those temperatures inland a couple of degrees and then warming right back up by Friday. Friday is going to be the warmest day of this upcoming week. We'll be seeing those high temperatures once again across those inland areas close to the triple digit mark, while our coastal communities will be in the upper 60s with plenty of sunshine, and the winds, nothing to write home about. 15 to 25 miles an hour, maybe a 30-mile-an-hour gust Thursday as that storm system scrapes off to the north. But again, above average at least through the weekend before a gradual cool down heads our way by the time that we step out next week. So this heat is not here to stay forever. Those of you who do live inland who have been missing the more summer-like conditions, get out through the rest of this week and into this weekend while you can, because again, there is going to be cooler weather heading our way, but I know most of us not complaining about that at all, because that's why we live in the Bay Area, right? We like the cooler summers. It's been cool this summer, a bit of a heat up though, like I said, on the way that's going to stick around through the weekend. So I would suggest heading out to the beach this weekend, escaping that more extreme heat inland and enjoying the upper 60s with more sunshine that we're expecting along our coastal communities. Heading on over to you, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Zoe. We appreciate it. Coming up at 6 o'clock, a number of dogs getting ill. One even died after visiting the same Santa Clara dog park, and no one can figure out why. Plus, the Bay Area gets a visit from a sailboat that has traveled the Pacific for more than half a century, rallying against the nuclear arms race, why the crew says its mission is more important than ever. And later, we'll introduce you to a renowned etiquette coach giving a crash course to some Gen Zers who spent most of their adolescence in lockdown, missing out on some everyday life lessons. The news at 6 coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's head to Vern now for a look at sports.
KPIX Sports is powered by Kia. Learn more at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
All right, NFL up top, and the 49ers, they get an off day tomorrow, and then the Denver Broncos come to town for a joint practice on Thursday ahead of Saturday's preseason game. Right tackle Colton McKivitz says he's in the best shape of his career after spending the offseason running the hills of San Francisco. McKivitz went up and down Vallejo Street just like our own Matt Lively and Lorenzo Neal did last summer.
They just kind of wave, and then they're like, you know, can I run with you? And sure enough, like 50-year-old guy comes running and couple other marathon runners with us, so they sprint up the hill, and I tried chasing after them, but super polite, and they kind of give you a weird stare, but you're dodging Waymos and bikes, but it's just a cool place to work, and I think I was up there 4 to 5 times a week.
Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey won't be running the hills of San Francisco anytime soon, but they will get to test out their new dad strength when the Broncos come to town.
I feel like every day somebody's having a kid, man. So hey, let's just keep it rolling.
Christian McCaffrey's wife Olivia gave birth to the couple's first child, Colette McCaffrey, another CMC, and that also happens to be Claire Kittle's middle name.
So George Kittle was just here, and we thought it was really cool that you named your daughter after his wife.
That was complete coincidence. We had no idea, but hey, she's got a great name.
And then a few weeks later, the Purdys welcomed their first child, Millie Jolene Purdy.
I don't know if Shanahan will go for it, but Millie could be like a check down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
Millie,
Yeah.
Millie. Oh, he's changed the play.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a play that I can audible to and we can score a touchdown on. So we might have to save that name for a really good play.
Purdy has no problem taking chances with a football, but it's a much different game plan with his baby girl.
I'm more cautious with things and doors and hallways, like when we're holding our baby. It's just like you're now thinking about this baby and protecting it all the time.
Brock can handle the play calls, but CMC may have some new material for the rest of the offense.
I'll be the supplier of the dad jokes for sure. I mean, I've been a dad joke guy for a while now. My wife gets sick of it, but just more jokes in the arsenal, the better.
I got 2 to leave you with.
All right.
I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now.
That's funny.
It is funny.
It's a good joke.
And what did one slice of bread say to the other before a race?
What?
You're toast.
That's pretty good.
So there
First
you go.
one better. That's good.
Yeah, there's 2 good ones.
Those are good ones. I'll write those down and keep
No,
them
you
with
won't.
me. I'll write them on my brain.
All right, Ryan, I'll try a couple of these for you, okay?
Gosh.
What do frogs wear for shoe attire?
I don't know.
Open-toed sandals. No? No? Nothing? No? All right. How much does a chimney cost? Nothing. It's on the house. Dad jokes, everybody. Hey, I'm here all week.
The crew,
I'm here all week.
the crew likes it. I heard a ha.
Well, that's all that
and
matters.
a clap.
All right.
All right, thanks for. The Grateful Dead tributes are in the books, but the concerts taking over Golden Gate Park are just beginning.
You go in the attic, you can open the window and you can just hear everything. It's like getting a free seat.
Better slow down. San Francisco's new speed cameras are now active in issuing fines. They range from $50 all the way up to $200. And people living near Golden Gate Park, well, they're not worried about speeding in their neighborhood, at least for right now. Streets in the area have been shut down for nearly 2 weeks due to the summer concert series, and we have still got several more weeks to go. Our Amanda Harry spoke with neighbors about how they are dealing with the influx of people.
Dead & Company brought tens of thousands of people to Golden Gate Park this past weekend. Even more are expected for outside lands this coming weekend. Residents are dealing with extra traffic, road closures, and lots of crowds. But Oberyn Ferguson says for the most part, he enjoys it.
You go in the attic, you can open the window and you can just hear everything. It's like getting a free seat. I remember Kendrick Lamar was here last year, could sing along to all the words.
Ferguson lives just across the street from the park, close enough that he deals with people constantly looking for parking during the events.
It was in front of the driveway, so people just trying to get parking as close as they can.
It left his family unable to get their car back into their garage when they got home.
We had to get it towed, so that was pretty frustrating. And then they came back at like midnight to ask where their car went, and then we had to explain, and that was a little awkward, but it got figured out and hopefully they got their car back.
Colleen Fan Eversman parks her car in her garage. She noticed some people selling their driveways as parking spots, but decided against it.
It's crossed our mind, but we haven't, just because we like the flexibility if we do need to get in the car and go.
She also saw extra parking enforcement during the festivals.
I've noticed some more like ticket maids around, so I'm sure there are people who are feeling desperate to find parking.
And it's not just the parking that's an issue, it's driving too.
It's hard, especially with the Great Highway closed, which has already really impacted the traffic here. My daughter takes a bus to school, and it's just not functioning.
Julia Sterling has lived near the park for 22 years, longer than Outside Lands has existed. Now, with more concerts added to the schedule this year, she's a little frustrated.
It just feels like, wow, 3 weekends plus Hardly Strictly? Like, this area, we've just gone through a lot of change out here. It's hard. We were just like under the radar, kind of chill for a long time, and now it's changing.
But Ferguson says he's trying to look on the bright side while still acknowledging it's not always ideal, especially late at night.
The only annoying thing is like people coming out and like being loud at night, but the music's good.
And closures at Golden Gate Park, that will continue through Wednesday, August 20th. That's it for the news at 5.